Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. We are so happy that you joined us today. Remember to broaden the scope of exposure for your business by going beyond the interview. Learn more at www.jmmbmediallc.com, or you can email us at jmmbradio@gmail.com. I am so excited to bring to you today Jeremy Vesta, who is the Chief Financial Officer of Curally, where he uses his expertise as an economist and his extensive business leadership background to empower companies to optimize their investment in their most valuable resource, their employees, through innovative strategies. I love it already, Jeremy. Additionally, Jeremy is the managing director of Vesta Holdings, a company with diverse interests in the fresh beef industry. Among its ventures, Vesta Holdings is involved in beef manufacturing through Harmony Beef, which is a company established and ran by Jeremy and his family. Wow. Before joining Vesta, he gained experience as a commodities trader at Bunge. Did I say that right? Or
Bunge. Yeah.
Bunge.
Bunge Global. Yeah. No worries.
Okay. One of Jeremy's core beliefs is that to address the challenge of rising insurance costs, businesses must adopt new approaches that go beyond the surface level factors like plan design, benefit providers, and coverage provided. Instead, the focus should be on identifying and resolving the underlying factors driving these costs. By doing so, business owners, benefit administrators, and HR leaders can effectively mitigate the impact of escalating insurance expenses. Wow.
That's a lot, right?
Yes, it is, because as we
Yeah.
know, insurance
Yeah.
is always going up and less is covered. So let's talk a little bit about that
Yeah.
because I really want to know how you empower um, administrators to be able to do better with the
Sure.
insurance.
Yeah. When you think about your companies, when you think about your organizations, right? HR teams have a lot of skill sets. They wear a lot of hats. They do a lot of things, but they're not experts in clinical data. They're not experts in, sifting through claims and deciding, well, this seems like this was regular and this seems like this was out of the ordinary and maybe this was needed, maybe this wasn't needed. So there's a real need in that sphere because they're the ones ultimately paying for the benefit, right?
Mhm.
There's a need for that ability to both audit what you're doing, right? But also to, I love the quote on your website, the Teddy Roosevelt quote, where you talk about, they have to know how much you care before they care how much you know.
Right.
And that is absolutely the sum total of our system because it's relationships. We're coming into your company and we're building relationships with your employees, the ones that are, at risk within your membership plan,
Mhm.
right? The ones that are at risk of generating those really high cost claims, your complex conditions, maybe multiple conditions, diabetes, hypertension, cardiac, all together in one, very complex situations. And we start off before we ever let them know, how much we know, which is a lot. um, we want them to know that we legitimately care. It's got to be authentic. It's
Mhm.
got to be authentic. We have to show that we really care about these people. We listen to their stories. We're spending, large amounts of time with these employees. And what it does is we have the ability to drive down utilization. And I think that's the key. So we're developing the relationship. We're changing behaviors. We're advising them across everything from their wellness all the way through to, dealing with their specialists and what questions to ask. And is it the right specialist? Full scope. And that's what it has to be, because again, I just had a conversation with somebody. You've probably heard the term value-based,
Mhm.
right? Value-based healthcare, right? Well, you're asking the hospital who needs utilization to give up something. And I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to bring in an actuary, tell you it's, put 5% over the top and say, well, we're going to give you value based, but it's going to cost you X, right? We're outside of that system. So we're coming there and saying, we develop the relationship with your employee, we make them better, we lower the amount of meds they're on, we reverse their weight gain, we reduce their blood sugars, they're on less of these meds, they have less complications. And then over the time, as we manage more and more people within your population, you see that risk profile drop. And so where everybody else is talking around the edges, unit costs, maybe value-based contracting, those types of things, we're getting to the core of it, which is the population gets more unhealthy every year.
Mhm.
Every year. Diabetes rates haven't fallen in my lifetime, probably not in your lifetime, right?
No, it has not.
Obesity rates haven't fallen. And the key is we're looking at this, we're looking at everybody as an individual, and we're saying, what's your story? It's not enough to just go to a doctor and have him say, hey, you need to lose weight. Everybody knows that. That's not an epiphany for anybody. But to have somebody that's helping you, listening to your story, what are your socioeconomic issues? What are your family issues? Where are your family pressures and stresses coming from? What's keeping you from achieving what you want to achieve? And a lot of it's fear. A lot of it is kind of a belief that they can't do it. And that takes time. So you're not going to get a 5-minute doctor visit to change somebody's life. You've got to form that relationship. And I think that's what's ultimately different about our approach, is that we're coming in hired by the company and helping these HR people provide a level of expertise they could have never had before.
Wow, that is definitely unique. And I love the personal touch. I mean, and that's what you need, because one of the things when I was in corporate, I hated the time when you had to go and redo your benefits. It was awful. I mean, basically, the HR team just read out of a book. That's pretty much all they did.
Yeah, here's the cost. You're just going to take it. We don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. But by the way, here's what it is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And if they went up and you had a question about it, there was never an answer. Never an answer. So, how do you get these companies to opt in to your approach?
Yeah, so I think it's marketed two ways, right? Obviously, the one benefit is we're reducing your risk. So over time, we can show measurable savings, A, year on year for those large cases and some of the higher cost claimants that we're managing. But B, long term, you'll start to see maybe you're trending a little bit lower than your regional trend. And you'll start to see signs that your risk profile is kind of diminishing, as long as your turnover is not super high, right? Most
Mhm.
companies don't want that. But then the other part of it is this is an unbelievable recruiting tool, because it gives you the ability, I would say, as a company, to be even more authentic than maybe you are. So you're going to your employees. Like, we have examples of individuals in the Milwaukee area, one person in particular, um, had a cancer issue, was on basically a maintenance drug, which their doctor, again, they really liked their doc, all of those things. Nothing to say that doc was
Mhm.
insufficient or whatever, but there's a wide variety of results across the spectrum. Um, Spending probably $300,000 to $400,000 a year in terms of the company plan on that medication. That was really just kind of a holding pattern to you're going to die, right?
Right.
Horrible result.
Mhm.
We got involved. We kind of looked through the chart. Some things didn't make complete sense to us. Went and got a second opinion, asked HR, can we go out of network? So we went out of network, got a second opinion from somebody that we knew that in the area that was a little bit higher powered. Went in for an ablation, so surgical procedure. That person's now in remission and working for the company and thrilled. So you can imagine, from an employee retention perspective, you get to say the company brought in a program that saved people's lives, made people healthier, saved people's lives, helped kind of demystify this really complicated system, And not a lot of companies have that. Everybody's got some kind of condition management program here or there, or a wellness program. But at the end of the day, they're phone calls, and it's a gym discount for somebody that's already going to the gym, right?
Yes.
Well, this company invested in a group that took the time, sometimes hours, to meet, discuss, get to know. And we're not talking about just the high level. I mean, this is what's so great. This is the passion that I have for this business, is it's not about just the corporate employees at the top. In fact, we probably have fewer people at the top participating, but it's across the entire spectrum of employee. Anybody on that membership plan. It's truly an egalitarian thing. It's truly a service for all, which I think it has to be,
Mhm.
because we have struggles. Everybody struggles across the board. Everybody thinks, at various levels, maybe they don't have this problem or that problem, but everybody's struggling. But certainly when you get into, the lower level employees, where financial considerations become an issue. Can I
Mhm.
afford that drug? Hey, my doctor is prescribing Ozempic. Well, first off, you're pre-diabetic, not diabetic. A, it's a glorified appetite suppressant. And B, look at what it's costing you.
Yeah.
So let's find another solution. Maybe a metformin, which is a cheap drug and has no side effect, minimal side effects, is a better option. Those types of conversations can then happen, so we can find solutions for you.
I'm loving this. Wow, this is really unique. So,
Oh,
how do you actually get to have the conversations with
sure.
the employees? How does that happen?
Yeah, and it's I will say it's a challenge at the beginning. So it takes a lot of internal marketing, right? So start off, when we get hired on, we have a big marketing push. We need to have people educated on what we are. We try to do things like lunch and learns and little extra
Mhm.
tidbits for the company, where it's like, hey, we'll do a webinar for you about something really, really interesting. Like, we're going to try not to do just the basics of, hey, here's a diet seminar. Everybody does that. But
Yes.
like, we just did a little webinar on off branding and Ozempic, because that's like the hot topic, right? Everybody wants it, but there's a lot of different things about it that are unsavory. Talking about the hot topic, getting people's interest. So you build that internal marketing first, and then it usually takes, there's early adopters in every population, right? There's people that kind of want to do these things. So you got to start slow. You're going to bring those people on. We've sorted the claims. We know who we're targeting. We're not going after everybody. We'll make cold calls. We'll be in front of people. We'll have people targeted when we do their biometrics. We love to show up at company biometrics, so that we can be in front of them, talk to them about what's going on. And then we bring on those first few. And we know we're going to have success. We know we're going to build that relationship. The nurses we have are special. They're people that really care, and they are empowered to spend as much time as they need with the participants. So it's not like we're saying, hey, you've got a 30-minute slot, right? So, because very few of these people have experienced this type of care within the healthcare sphere, you quickly start to get some traction. The word of mouth spreads, and that becomes the most powerful aspect. When you can start to tell the story, like I did about the cancer patient, or another participant who had, stage 4 renal kidney failure almost,
Mm.
and we reversed the whole process
Wow.
out of kidney failure. That type of thing, you start to, build on those things. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, that diabetic that we've been targeting, she wants to join. Susie in accounting hears about this, and now all of a sudden, okay, I want to be a part of that, because I'm scared. I'm admitting maybe there's some things I need to do, and I want to get some help. Now, to your point, you talk about it is challenging. Some of the really high cost spenders, it takes them to have a small event and have that kind of gotcha moment where they're in the hospital for something before they really come, full circle. But I will tell you, we have a very high success rate amongst those that have the event. Usually we're their first call after the event, when we've been in a population, a year or so. They make a call to us, and then all of a sudden we've got them on board, and we're helping them through the recovery process.
Yes. So, how do people connect with you? This is
Sure.
amazing. I did not see this coming, Jeremy.
I'm glad. No, I mean, And I'll tell you what, I don't blame you, because it sounds too good to be true, but I can tell you, it's got to be authentic. It's what I said at the beginning. This,
Mhm.
you got to really show that you care about people for this thing to
Yes.
work, and that's the whole basis. So if they want to get a hold of us, there's an informational portion of our website, curally.com. Go on there. I encourage you to reach out. We really find our space works really well with self-insured companies of a certain size. It's not even that big. Usually it's a little 1,000 employees plus.
Mhm.
um, but that's not to say that we've not conglomerated things in the past and done different things. So reach out. We'd love to help. At least we can give you some advice and tell you, this is what you should be looking for. This is what your HR team should be doing. Happy to give advice, because we've been through it. We've run some very large businesses, and it's a challenge, and we found a solution that worked for us, and we weren't expecting to, and that's why we want to share it. We want to share our expertise with the world, because we've got to start making people healthier, and we've
Yes.
got to show our employees we care about them.
Yeah.
Because like you said, when you give those increases every year, you start to lose the trust between the employer and the employee. Now it's just, you're just providing a service and I'm providing a service, and there's no relationship here. we
Yeah.
want to we want to help build relationships.
That is so awesome. That is just a godsend.
Mhm.
You
Amen.
guys are really I'm like floored right now. I'm like speechless because I mean I've been in the workforce for what 20, 30 years, never seen nothing like that. Never, ever, ever.
Well, I can tell you where I worked before in other places, like I thought of the admin staff, right? They're sedentary. They work their butts off,
Mm.
or at least they wish they did. But they got the can of Twizzlers at their desk, and they're sitting down all day long, and they're eating, and they just don't know that they can do anything different, and they're not getting any support. And so the company comes in and says, hey, you can get a discount to a gym, and it's like, well, I'm too tired at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I need somebody that's there when I need them. I need a resource that shows that you care. And right, for a lot of them, maybe they don't feel like anybody's really caring about them. And that what's so great about us is you hire us. You're not going to have the HR team to do this. Nobody does. I don't care how big your company is. Nobody's got an HR team where they can start reaching out and doing this type of stuff and have that expertise, but we can, and we can engage on your behalf. So I'd love to hear from people. I'm so glad you're excited about it. This is why we're so passionate about it, because it's real. This isn't
Uh,
this isn't a smoke and mirrors. We're not giving you a discount. We're not doing anything like this. We're getting to the human level and trying to change lives. If we're not going to change lives, we don't want to be doing it.
And that's what's important. That
Yeah.
is, and that's to me, that's what we were born to do. Take care of one another. And
Mm.
Curly is definitely doing that in a huge way. In a huge way, because I when I read your bio, I didn't see none of this.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. And again, manufacturing background, right? And this is what I love to tell people. You think, well, gosh, how did you get from that to there? And it's because that's where we came up with this idea, which that's a very difficult environment. It's one thing when you got a big corporate office and everybody's together geographically, located closely, all of that. That's a little easier, but we were dealing with unions. We were dealing with, very, very difficult labor. When you talk about the beef industry, you're talking about very tough work with a
Mhm.
lot of injuries, high WCB rates, right? You're talking about
Right?
people getting injured regularly. And it's hard in that environment to really show, we care about you, right? And that's what we found. That's why we're so passionate about this. We found through this program that we were able to finally communicate that and really give something back.
Yes. Wow. That's really interesting. Your family business is the beef industry.
It
And
is, yeah.
and from that, Curly was born.
Yeah, it was like we'd been pretty successful with our previous company. And we've always had, a little bit of a faith bent where we wanted to give something back and do so, because again, they work very hard.
Yes, I bet.
It's extremely difficult work. How can we do something to take care of these people that helped us get there? And we actually expected our costs to go up. Maybe we hadn't really thought through all of the aspects. We kind of thought, yeah, this is probably going to be a cost. This is going to be expensive. 4 years later, and this is because we controlled the entire thing, the benefits and the participation and everything. Net to our baseline year, we saved 25%. So
Wow.
we trend at the time in the area we were in was 7 to 8%. So
Mm,
it's not like that wasn't even net to trend. That was net to that initial year. So our healthcare costs dropped in 4 years because people were healthier, and our turnover went down because we realized, wow, people were willing to be more loyal. It was a difficult choice to leave a company that was providing such a high level of service to you when there aren't options out there that are going to do the same. Yeah, you'll get the paycheck, but where's your health going? And so
right.
it becomes part of that total compensation package. It becomes part of the whole ball of wax, as it were, when the employee's looking at, am I going to work for you or not? Right.
Yes, yes. And one of the things that you just said was the people that help you. We have so many strikes going on because a lot of times
Yeah.
corporations forget their humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And you should never, ever, ever do that. Ever.
No, you don't get there without your people. I mean, and again, the sad thing is that's really become a cliche,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every company says that because we've been taught from a PR perspective that's how you should say it. But when you talk about the character and the authenticity, to do that authentically. So for you to be a CEO of a corporation and authentically get your employees to feel that you really believe that. I mean, I can tell you, putting in this medical program was one of the easiest things we ever had to negotiate with our union,
Wow.
because it showed, hey, we care. You know, pay and all those things, those are complicated discussions. Those are whatever they are, but we're going to put in a benefit. It's going to be at our cost. It's going to help your people.
Yes.
What's to argue with, right?
Right.
And that is the truth. It takes authenticity, and this isn't going to work in a scenario where you're not building the relationships, where you're not being authentic, and where you're not showing high character.
Yes.
Because immediately when you break any one of those tenets, you lose the trust, right? That participant doesn't trust you anymore, and you're not going to make any impact. And same thing from a company's perspective. I'd encourage those companies. You got to rebuild the trust with your employee. You wouldn't be getting the asks as dramatically as people are asking right now
Mm-hmm.
had you taken care of them along the way and done the things that you should have been doing all the time. They would have felt like a part of your family. Make them a part of the success, but do it really, not just a, hey, we're going to say a bunch of words. It's got to be felt from management all the way down. And that's a very tough thing to do. It's a very tough
Yes.
thing to do.
And it's
Takes a
action
lot of work.
driven. It's action
It
driven.
is.
I
It
mean,
is.
we all heard the saying talk is cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a
Yeah.
purity fact. But when you say you're going to do something,
Yeah.
people need to see it happening. They need to
Yeah.
see the action. They really do. And those companies that really care about their people, your people going to go beyond the call of duty for you
Yeah.
and want to.
Yes. Yes. And you can get people to achieve things they never dreamed they could achieve, which is
Mhm.
great.
Yes.
Our definition of teamwork is the ability of an individual to subordinate their own self-worth for the good of the whole, which means if I care about the success of my boss and my lateral employee and the people underneath me as much as I care about my own, if not maybe a little bit more, you're going to achieve wonderful things. And that's where this system, I mean, that's where Curally works, because we're caring about those people, right? We're coming in and we're not promising them, hey, you're gonna lose 200 pounds, or you're gonna lose 100 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever. That's not the goal. The goal is, certainly, if you put in the effort and you invest in this relationship and we invest in this relationship, we're going to be there. You're not going to work harder at it than we will.
Right.
Then you'll get there. but it's honesty, and it's that character where it's not a platitude. We're not coming in and saying, hey, we've got the magic pill that's going to get you there. There is no magic pill, but we can help work with you. We've got expertise, we've got experience, we have people that have seen and done things you've gone through 100,000 times over, and we're going to help you get through that as a team, as a care team. We're going to help you get through that. I think that authenticity, and again, to your point, if companies could communicate that way instead of coming out and saying, yes, we're all a team. I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean to you? You got to show it with action. It's got to be backed up with, we are available. The minute somebody would call up Curally and call up a nurse and them not get back to them for 3 days, it's done. You're never getting that person back involved.
That's
And
true.
it's the same thing in any business. If you're going to make a promise, you have to back it up. You have to be authentic. You have to be real.
Yes, you do. And if for some reason you can't do it, then you got to
Yeah.
speak up and
Right.
say, "But we wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, things happen and we can't do it at this time. But it is
Yeah.
definitely on the table to do in the future." You
You'd,
got
you'd
to say
almost say
something.
you'd almost say the best PR sometimes is less PR and just being frank, right?
Yes, absolutely. Tell the truth. Just be
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
up and honest. I think people can appreciate that. I know I can. Sometimes even if I don't want to hear it, I'm still going to be looking at it because the guy said.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I'm going to
Yeah.
be, okay, maybe this is what I am projecting.
Right.
Let me try to put something else out in the universe, so to speak. Wow. Curly. Wow. So again, how do companies connect with you? Because this is
Yeah,
amazing.
sure. Again, go to our website, curely.com. There's a portion where you can reach out to us, fill in your company info, and like I said, we at the very least we'd love to have a conversation with you, find a way to help make your company better, help you make your company more authentic.
Yes, and this will definitely do it because I can already feel the vibrations just talking to you that you are very committed to doing this. And that's what it takes. People need to feel it. And you can feel it. I can definitely
I
feel it.
appreciate
So
that.
thank you, Jeremy, for all that you do. And Curly, I am going to be, oh my God, you're going to be the talk of dinner tonight.
Oh, that's fantastic. Couldn't get a better compliment. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And we are definitely looking forward to more collaborations because I think that
Absolutely.
people definitely need to know that you're there and hear about, how we got to hear it a couple times or more in
Yeah.
order to get that feel for what's going on. So we are definitely love to have you back to talk more about Curly.
Be happy to come back. Happy to share the truth whenever I can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mm.